Hi there, welcome to the channel. My name is Maria. Today I'm going to make some samosas. I love Indian food, and samosas are an Indian, it's like an appetizer. Al and I will eat them as a meal. We'll have it with side salad. You can make chicken samosas, beef samosas, vegetarian samosas. Today, I'm just gonna go ahead and make vegetable potato, and peas and onions and some delicious seasonings that give it that ultimate flavor. For the dip, I'm going to use the sweet and sour dipping sauce. I kind of cheated in that department because I just bought it, and but there's nothing wrong with that. Anyhow, stick around. It's easy enough to make. You'll be so surprised how easy it is. So let's get busy. I'm in the kitchen now. I'm going to show you what you will need to make these delicious samosas. These will be peas and potato samosas, so vegetarian samosas. I do usually put in chicken or ground beef, but today I don't have any chicken in the freezer, and I am not feeling beef today, so nothing wrong with vegetarian samosas. They're so delicious. This is what we'll need. We're in the kitchen. I've got my pot of water on, waiting for it to come to a boil. We'll need some, well, let's start with the vegetables. Obviously, this is a vegetable samosa, so we'll need some onions. I've got both the purple onion and regular cooking onion, some potatoes, some garlic, some frozen peas, the phyllo pastry. We need some gram masala, some garlic powder, chili powder, some sea salt, some curry powder. I've got some chives, and I'm only going to use probably maybe 10 to 15 strands. I love putting a little bit of that into the samosa. Just gives a nice little flavor and some color as well. If you don't have the purple onion, no need to worry about it. Just use the regular onion. Got a cutting board, my knife, peeler, and garlic press. I've got my brand new wok/frying pan. I've got my oil that I use. I've used this oil once before. I'm going to use it again today. And it's oil that I reserve. It's vegetable oil for deep frying. I try to get about 3 uses and then I dispose of it. So that's all you'll need for this delicious vegetarian samosa. So let's get to it. So I've got my pot of water just started to boil. I'm almost done peeling the potatoes. I'm gonna rinse the potatoes. I'll tell you, these are beauties. Our friend, our super nice friend, always treats us with homegrown local potatoes, and honestly, they are absolutely amazing potatoes. Alan absolutely loves it, especially for his French fries. He just can't get enough of them. So thank you to our friend for these delicious potatoes. Today's a bit of a different angle. I just thought to try something different. And I'm not wearing my little microphone, and I hope it's okay. I'm just peeling off some little spots that I missed with the peeler. I'm not really sure if I were to tell you the honest truth what kind of potatoes these are. I don't even know, because they're grown locally, and they call these similas, which it's a word only found here in Madeira. I don't know, they kind of remind me of a Yukon, but I don't know for a fact, so I don't want to say for sure. They're not too starchy. They're just perfect potatoes, and honestly, for the deep frying and like for Alan's fries. I mean, I eat them too. They're just so delicious. Okay, so we're gonna take our potatoes, and we're just gonna go ahead and we'll cut them. Oops. We'll cut them about 1.5 inches. We're just gonna place those in the water. try to get them cut about the same size so they cook evenly. And I find these potatoes definitely not very starchy. And how I can tell is just from when I rinse them. Usually you'll have a lot of that white starch on your hands. You don't find that with these. Now these guys, when I talk about our friends, these folks that give us these lovely potatoes, they use 0 chemicals. They're all naturally, there's no GMOs or anything like that goes into their, well, I think that's against the law. It's banned here in Europe. So they don't use anything. They don't use herbicides or anything on their vegetable patches. I know they do throw a lot of their, there's a lot of compost that goes into their mix, into their soil mix, which is great. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to chop up the onions, and we will need a frying pan because we're going to fry up the onions. I've got half an onion, purple onion from the other day. I'll use that up first. I'm just going to chop up the onion, chop it up fine. So I've got 1 regular yellow onion and 1.5 purple onion. And that's what I'm making for this batch, which was the 2 large and 2 small potatoes. If you don't have the purple onion, don't worry about it. Just use the yellow. I'm going to get 4 cloves of garlic ready to go for pressing, but I won't add that until at the very end, because that's, whenever I cook with garlic, I don't put the garlic right away into my in the prepping of the meal. I always try to add it. There you are. I try to add it at the end because I just find I want to keep as much of that garlic flavor in my dishes. I love garlic. My husband loves garlic. I grew up with lots of garlic and I love that flavor. If you're not a big garlic fan, well, you can avoid it altogether and substitute. Like I do also add a little bit of the garlic powder in there. Come in. Sure. Okay. That was Alan just coming in from being out in the garden. So with the garlic, if you're not a big garlic person, that's fine. You can use the little bit of the garlic powder. I use both the fresh garlic and garlic powder because that's what we like. The more the merrier. So I'm going to continue chopping up the onions in small little, well, I guess they're diced. Because remember, these are going to be placed into our potato mixture, into the samosas. We don't want to bite into a huge chunk of onion. We like little bite size. Cut the fan on. Hope you can hear me. So for the last 2 minutes of the boiling of the tomatoes, potatoes, add 2 teaspoons of sea salt, not water. In my frying pan, I have the super diced onions, the purple and regular onions. And I've gone ahead and pressed 6 cloves of garlic. I've got everything ready to go. In my little bowl here, I've put in some cold water. The peas are pretty much thawed at this point. I want to keep them, in water, and I'll take those and strain them just before we're ready to mix everything together. For the chives, I said I'd probably use about 10 or 12 strands. I'll say about, I'm going to be generous. I'll say about that much chives. It's a nice subtle flavor, but it's also a nice color. And I'm going to just chop that on the, I didn't clean my chopping board from the garlic, but that's from the potatoes, but that's fine. And just cut it, not too small. It's just going to give it some color. It's nice fragrant too. If you stick your knife and it's very easy in and out, then you know they're ready. Done. I'm going to set that aside, let that cool down a bit. I'm going to go ahead and start frying up, or should I say sauteing our onions. To that I'm going to add some olive oil and some butter. Probably 1.5 tablespoons of butter and probably 2 tablespoons of olive oil. To the onions, I'm going to add a tablespoon of the Gram Marsala. Stuff is so good, I love it. I'm going to add a teaspoon of the chili powder for the heat. 2 teaspoons of curry powder. Yummy, I love that smell. Yum, yum, yum. Yummy, yummy. It smells so delicioso. Oh, it smells so good. I'll turn down my heat a bit. Wish you can smell that. Well, you will smell it if you make this dish at home. The chives, we'll leave them aside. We're not quite ready for the garlic yet, so I'm going to leave that over there for now. And I'm going to add sea salt, a teaspoon, and a teaspoon of the garlic powder. The main ingredient will, in my opinion anyway, is the Gram Marsala because it's got so many different spices in there. Fragrant spices. The only thing I don't have in this dish today, which I normally put in there, is caraway seed. I don't have any. I thought I had some in the cabinet, in the cupboard, but I don't. But that's okay. We got a lot of flavors happening here, so it'll be fine. Oh my God, that's so good. Incredible. Oh, excuse me, a warning to you guys. If you're not into the hot seasoning, avoid the chili. I didn't realize that's pretty awesome, spicy like in heat. But once we add the potatoes and incorporate everything, it's gonna lose that heat. I love it spicy, Alan not so much, so I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. So you might want to cut back on the chili powder. Maybe add a 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon. I was very generous, but that's how I like it. And we're gonna add our peas. Oh yeah, baby, loving it. So the peas are sweet. You'll see what I'll do in a few minutes. I want to cook them up a little bit. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes before I show you what I'll do with the peas. I'm actually going to smash them, just a little bit of the peas in the frying pan. Seems a little cruel, doesn't it? But just a few, and it gives it some texture. I love mushy peas. That's a British thing, isn't it? Alan makes a delicious mint mushy peas as a side dish when we have a roast beef dinner. Oh my God, it's so delicious. Whew. Gonna have to do that one day for you guys. When we place the filling into the phyllo pastry, whatever way you want to call it, the phyllo pastry, it will be a very quick deep fry, so we want to make sure that all our ingredients for the filling is incorporated and cooked before they go into our shell, because you can't possibly put frozen peas into the samosa filling and then fry it for a minute and expect the peas to be fully cooked, because it's not going to happen. Believe me, I've been making this for years, so I know. I've learned from my mistakes, and if I could help you guys avoid those mistakes, I'll make sure I do that. Potatoes. I know. All right, they're still on the hot. Well, they're not that hot. They're still slightly warm. But I'm going to go ahead and cut them up. I like my samosas large. I don't like them small. I like good sized samosas. Alan and I eat these as a main dish with side salad. So I like cutting them into that bite-sized pieces. I'm just going to put them in the pot. With the handy potato smasher, I'm going to give this just a quick mash. I don't want to mash the whole thing. I just want to keep, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't want to mash the whole thing of peas. It's just, you definitely want to see those peas, a whole pea, but I want to give it some color so the green will come through. It's not as mushy as you think it is. There's still quite a few whole peas there. So we're going to keep that on low. We're going to keep cooking it for another, I'm going to say another 5 minutes. Potatoes are actually firm. They're not overcooked. If you've never tried a samosa before, there's so many different types of samosas you can make, like for the fillings. And if you've never tried them, you're in for a big treat because they are yummy. So yummy. You can adjust your seasonings if you want. I have a recipe I can link below. It's called chicken curry pasta salad. It's such a hit with everybody who eats it. And I have a video. It's my recipe and it's absolutely delicious. And it's got curry in it. Same curry I'm using here. And believe me, if you've never tried it, and you've never tried a mild curry, you're going to love. This is a mild yellow curry and not spicy at all. I'm going to go ahead now and add our garlic, 6 cloves of garlic pressed into that pea mix. Oh, mamma mia. Yummy. I do have it a little spicier than I usually do, but that's okay. I will just have to drink extra milk. Now, I forgot to add the turmeric, so I'm going to add that right now. I'm going to add my turmeric right into the potatoes, and I'm going to give it a stir. That's not half a teaspoon. The turmeric is more about the color. It does have a little bit of flavor to it, but it's the color. It adds a nice yellow. Then we're going to place our peas into our pot of potatoes that cubed up, bite size. We're going to mix all this together, and it should be dry. You're not going to get a moist filling. I should mention 1 egg. I'll have 1 egg that will be mixed into this little bowl with a pastry brush because we will need that as our sealing of the shell, like the samosa, when we're doing it, filling up the phyllo pastry squares. We'll need that for sealing up. Okay, Maria's gonna try. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. That's so good. And this is what happens. I taste it. You always should taste your food. But I test, and then I want more. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. This is where you can adjust your seasonings. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add some more sea salt because, oh, I can't even get this open. My taste buds are saying more salt. This is sea salt. It's very coarse and wet. I like using sea salt. Let's just give it a stir. Pardon me? Oh, okay. Alan's just telling me through the window he's heading out to pick up a few things at the grocery store. If I could tell you how much I love these flavors, I probably could eat that every day. When I make my chicken samosas, the difference is there's chicken pieces in it, and what I typically do is chicken breast. I just chop it up small pieces. I fry it in a frying pan. I add a little bit of the same seasonings in butter, and then I usually throw it in at this point. So if you guys want to do add chicken, like protein into it, this is where you'd add your protein, your cooked protein. All right, before we get it prepared for the shells. If I could ever find wonton sheets here, which I know there are, I was actually at the Chinese grocers a while ago, and I know they sell them, but I never thought to pick them up. But the wonton sheets work perfectly to do the samosa shells. And if you don't have it, use the phyllo. I'm using phyllo today. And only because these phyllo sheets that I bought at the local grocery store, it's a different brand, and I'm finding that the sheets are very thick, so it'll be fine. It'll be perfect to incorporate that into the samosas. I'll show you how I put them together in just a moment. All right, so I've gone ahead and cleaned up. Everything's washed. Got my knife, my pastry brush. I've gone ahead and cracked one egg. It's in this bowl. I've made it all combined there, whisked. We're going to use that for our sealing of the phyllo pastry. Okay, I've got the chives from earlier. I'm going to go ahead and just place that in our pot with our filling. Give it a stir. And so this is all cooled down now. Everything's set to go. I've got my tray lined with paper towel. So when I take the mousse out of the oil, they're going to be dripping onto that and just absorbed. Any extra oil will be absorbed in that. Got a plate, and I've got my phyllo pastry ready to go. I gotta get a towel so they don't dry out. I gotta cut these. When I do these samosas, I usually buy the wonton sheets, and I find them to be perfect. I love the texture. So now I've got my sheets. All right. Okay, well, I've made a few. I'm not overly impressed using this phyllo sheet, but you know what? It's okay, because when you don't have what you need, you improvise, correct? So I'm just going ahead, and I've been trying all different things with the sheets, but I got the egg wash. It's almost falling apart at this point, but that's okay. We're gonna make it happen. So I want to say the traditional samosa shape, the triangle, it's looking more like a a Vietnamese spring roll to me. But I've got the oil on, and I'm going to test and see how they work. If they do not work out, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to run to the store, and I'm going to see if I can find something closer to samosa type pastry. But here's what I've been doing. I've been taking the egg wash, about not quite a full tablespoon of the mix, and typically I would just make a triangle and close it off, or press at the edges, but it's not going to happen with this phyllo, so I'm just bringing the two ends together and rolling it, and that's what I'm doing. So I've got the oil on, and I'm going to bring you into the room where I'm preparing this, and we're just going to go ahead, and it's going to taste wonderful no matter what. So we'll see how it works with the phyllo sheets, and I'll give you my honest opinion. different. I think it'll be fine. Just set your oil to the right temperature. It's gonna be delicious. We're gonna head out to the outdoor kitchen. I've got my oil. I'm almost positive it's ready to go. You can see it's starting to bubble. Gonna place our, what I'm calling our samosa spring rolls. Oh yeah, it doesn't take long to cook. And I'm gonna I'm gonna try them this way with these with the phyllo sheets and see how it goes. Gotta keep an eye on them. Oh yeah, looking delicious. So quick to fry. Oh boy, this one's very gooey. Okay. So I'm on my outdoor kitchen here, and these are cooking really fast, so this is going to be a quick process. I won't even say it's a minute total. It's less than a minute. So we're going to go ahead and it's so thin. So we're kind of flipping it apart a little bit. But they're looking good. I'm going to call these samosa spring rolls. Smells wonderful. It's looking really good. Who would have thought? Gotta improvise, that's all you gotta do. Look at that. They look amazing. And I'll show you the sweet and sour sauce that I got. Look at that. Yummy. Wonderful. Let's finish these off and then I'll go back in the kitchen and continue with the rolls. I'm going to turn the burner off now because I'm going to have to go back into the house and finish off the other, well, we're calling them samosa spring rolls. Wow. I'm quite happy with how they turned out, even though the shapes are different. That's okay, but look at that. That's beautiful. I've got the table ready, just waiting for Ellen to come up for dinner. So there's our samosas. And you can see the ones that I wrapped up tight. They're a little lighter than the ones that I didn't wrap up so tight. There's our sweet chili sauce in the middle. I've got my little bowl of my own. And for the side, I've just put in baby carrots, or sorry, cucumbers, some cherry tomatoes, some parsley, and yellow pepper. Salt and pepper, some oil and vinegar for the salad. And I can honestly tell you I've already had about 3 or 4, and I'm not super hungry, but I'm still gonna eat them. They're so good. All right, here's Alan. We're gonna have our dinner. We started earlier, we had a few samosas, but we can guarantee you we're gonna be eating a lot more than just a few. What do you say, Alan?
Absolutely. I think I gotta use my fingers.
Oh, you can actually take that little bowl, because I got mine with these sweet chili.
They smell so good.
Sweet chili sauce. Yummy, baby.
How much did you pay for samosas? Remember back in the day when we lived in Brampton at that place in the corner? Weren't they like 15 cents each or something?
We used to buy them, I think they were either 4 or 5 for $1 back
There
then.
you go. So 5 for $1 is 20 cents each. Now they're like $1.25 each or more. Right?
At minimum. Now, I did tell you that I made them with the phyllo pastry sheets instead of the wonton, because I couldn't find wontons. And the strangest thing was I was at the Chinese grocery store not that long ago and completely gapped.
Extra spicy, eh?
Extra spicy. Not as spicy as it was once I mixed the potato in there.
Very good, man.
Only thing,
samosas there.
these are vegetarian. There's no protein in it today. I didn't put any chicken or beef, but that's okay, right? They're still pretty delicious. And look, folks, you can just put a side salad and you've got your you know, a meal. You can use or cook these and make them as appetizers for guests. You can freeze them in a Ziploc bag. You could eat them cold. They're warm, right? They're still warm. There's you can serve them with the traditional. There's 2 types of sauces. I don't know how to make them, but maybe one day we'll. The green parsley one, and then that spicy red, but it's got a sweetness to it. The closest I can get to is this, and this is just a chili sweet and sour sauce that I bought at the Chinese grocery store. I cheated. Anyhow, bon appetit, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Please subscribe, click the notification, share the video with your friends, leave a comment. We've been getting some really good comments lately. Thank you. Have a good night. Cheers.
Bon appetit.